everybody. So thanks for joining us today. I am here with Karina Velez, owner of Chicago Pinup and Boudoir. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm awesome. So what we wanted to discuss today was basically how you take a piece of content or bigger piece of content and repurpose that into smaller bite-sized pieces of content, basically to give us more content to post. Nobody wants to, content creation it's a pain in the ass, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. It's like another job. So,
Right.
but before we get into that, so can you tell us a little bit more about your background as a boudoir photographer?
Sure. So my name is Karina Velez, as you've already mentioned. And first of all, Paula, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to discuss a lot of over a decade of knowledge that I've acquired in content creation. I've been in business for 12 years actually, but Chicago Pinup is 11 years old. So it took me a year to really actually find out what I wanted to niche on and focus on. Pinup is actually the thing we got known for the most. And it's interesting because there was times where I felt like boudoir was starting to take over the pinup side. We started offering boudoir as well because a lot of clients were asking for it. And so boudoir kind of started taking over that. And I was kind of like, no, I don't want pinup to die. Pinup is very timeless. With boudoir, while it's beautiful and everything, years and years from now, it's going to look dated. No matter what you do, it can be a beautiful shot, but it will look dated. Whereas pinup is a timeless kind of a photo shoot. So, so I love pinup so much just because it's kind of like this classy era and people are less hesitant of showcasing their boudoir photos. I don't see anything wrong, obviously, with a woman showing their boudoir photos. I actually encourage our clients to do that, to also teach their kids how to see a woman's body for the art that it is and things of that nature, and respecting the different body sizes and everything. But I know that pinup tends to be also that natural stepping stone for my clients to take the leap into boudoir. So sometimes they're like, I'm going to do the pinup because it feels safer to them. And then when they realize how good they look in the photos and the work that we do is transformational, then they feel emboldened to do the boudoir. Of course, you get those clients who are just like, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid and I'm going to do it scared. But, we've found that pinup has been that natural stepping stone for a lot of women to actually have the courage to do a boudoir session. So been in business for 11 years. The industry has changed, as I'm sure you know, being in it for a long time as well. So much you have to stay on top of. And I believe content creation is one of those things. While it's now called content creation, it's always been a thing that studios or any business for that matter should have always focused on. But we have always worn 17 hats, and so it's hard to navigate what do you put your focus on, and content creation should definitely be at the top of the list for every single business owner. So I'm excited to dive in with you today and answer some of those questions and educate on how to make our content creation life easier.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's funny that, I actually started off doing retro pinup and then I transitioned into boudoir. But I did find, even though I love pinup and I love the aesthetic of it, I do find that it is very prop and set driven. And I was not lucky enough to have someone, I think, build those custom sets and stuff. And now I have a home studio, so it's not really conducive to that. But you are so right about it being like a stepping stone, but it is a lot of fun. So, and then as far as and I don't think we didn't have the technology, people weren't walking around with iPhone with a flat screen
Right.
years ago that, we had these shitty cameras and these razor phones 20 years ago. So I think we've just gotten more like visually driven, I guess, as a society.
Right.
So, and now we have TikTok. So TikTok has really reduced the attention span.
Oh, 100%.
When you create bite-sized content, videos, like, can you elaborate on this? How does it benefit photographers?
Yeah, for sure. So, as you mentioned, TikTok has changed the game. And, there's a lot of people that are resistant to TikTok. There's different political views about it. And I get it. I get it all. But I feel like as business owners, we need to go where there's underpriced attention. If anybody has ever heard of Gary Vee, this is something he preaches all day long. You go where there's underpriced attention. And I remember doing that early on in my own business when I was doing Facebook ads before anybody was doing Facebook ads. When the glorious days of Facebook ads for small businesses, we literally would boost a post for $30 a month, and we booked clients galore and made thousands off of just $30 in marketing. And it was literally just boosting one image or 10 images per month for $3 each, or one image for $1. I mean, that's how low you could get some reach. And it was, a lot of people would say like boosting doesn't work. I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement.
It does. That's the organic content.
Yes, sometimes we still boost our posts. Like, I understand targeting specifically through Facebook, which we're not really discussing today, but boosting helps because you're pushing your posts to be seen, right? And so we do a combination of boosting for sure, with the organic stuff. Right now, Facebook is giving a lot of reach, so this goes with the bite-sized content, because they are competing, or I should say Meta, because it's Instagram and Facebook. So Meta is giving a lot of reach now, in regards to short and bite-sized content, because they are competing with TikTok. So a little bit of nerd talk here. TikTok decided they were going to recreate the new Vine. If anybody remembers Vine was short form videos, and it took off for a little bit and then it died. So right before 2020 happened, TikTok started going to Google, telling Google, hey, we want to advertise on your platform. Google didn't see it as a threat, because normally you can't, like, TikTok cannot advertise on Facebook, Facebook can't advertise on TikTok. Like, it's just, right, it's conflict of interest. So Google was like, ha ha ha, right? Oh, this is Vine again. Sure, we'll take your millions in advertisement dollars. What ended up happening is TikTok had a different way of recreating what Vine had already started. And as we know, TikTok is here to stay unless something political happens and it gets banned. But TikTok is here. And regardless if TikTok is here tomorrow or not, it changed the game forever. It made its mark, even if it dies tomorrow. And so sometimes platforms die. We already know that. That's what happened with MySpace. It was like the big thing, and then Facebook came along and kind of killed MySpace. And then, like Instagram came along, and then Facebook got smart and purchased Instagram, and everybody told Instagram. Everybody said Facebook overpaid and they were insane because they purchased it for $1 billion. Turns out that Instagram, they actually got it cheap for what Instagram is today. So new platforms are going to continue to come, and the trick is going to be going to these new platforms to create your content, because they're giving tons of free reach. And if you're a small business owner, you have to go where that underpriced attention is. I know that I missed the Instagram window, and I kick myself till this day about it, because there's photographers that can make Instagram work for them so incredibly. We've never been able to make it work for us. And let me tell you, we've spent over $15,000 in a span of like 7 months trying to get our Instagram off the ground. I mean, insane amount of money. And it just never really took off for us. And I think we missed that window of like having that underpriced attention, like our growth was so slow, pouring that much money into it, that it just wasn't worth our time and effort. But there's other photographers that do that, that do excel in that. We excel on Facebook, right?
Right.
I always encourage people to do their content creation in the platform that works for them the best. But the cool thing about what I'm going to teach today is that you can disperse it to every platform, because now everyone, including Pinterest, is allowing bite-sized content videos.
Yay. Yeah, I know what you mean about picking your platform. I'm not big on Instagram either, but I also don't post consistently on Instagram. So
Yeah.
it was just one of those things. I kind of missed that window too.
Yeah.
And so I chose Facebook as my platform as well. But I absolutely hear what you're saying. So what are some specific techniques or strategies that you use?
So the trick here is recording long form content and then taking small content from that long form content. So what you really want to do is, if you're a photographer, then you definitely want to be videoing that entire session, the hair and makeup, the actual shoot time, all of that, recording it entirely. A lot of photographers get stuck on quality and how am I going to do this and things like that. And if you look through YouTube, they're all using these Canon Shot Pro GLX7 cameras, which I own, or GoPros, and you literally just sit them on a shelf, sit them on a coffee cup, wherever you freaking want, to just have it do a continuous video view. And so sometimes as photographers, we overthink stuff like this, and we're just kind of like, oh no, but it has to be this and that and this and that. And I shared this in the Association of Boudoir Photographers, which everyone can actually find the entire formula in that association, because I give it all there. But I was sharing with them how, like, Mr. Beast is going to be one of the, Mr. Beast is on a path to being the first trillionaire influencer, the first YouTuber that's going to be a trillionaire. He hasn't made billionaire yet, but he's very close to it. And they're, based on his growth, they're projecting him to be the first trillionaire. And Mr. Beast literally has $1.8 million in camera gear, right? And in his camera gear, he shows how he has like red cams, which are some of the top quality cameras, and they have like the most expensive gear you can imagine, but they're using the GoPros and the cheap cameras and the phones because they've discovered that people actually respond to not so overly produced videos more than anything else.
So it looks more organic, more relatable, basically. Okay.
Mr. Beast is the top YouTuber that exists. YouTubers, the creator of the YouTube algorithm, sat with him to basically ask him questions about how he figured out the algorithm. So this is how obsessive he is about the content that he provides, about the video work and studying that data.
So basically, we can do it with less expensive camera equipment, which I'm glad that you brought that up, because like I have a Sony that I use, like a Sony RX100 that I could use for video, but I'm too lazy to set it up, honestly. And I think the other thing that I find intimidating too is like, because we do boudoir, a lot of clients aren't going to be like, yes, I will sign a release to be on camera. You know, like most of them are, you know, they want their photos private and stuff. So I always felt like
I feel like that is part of our education process, because you'll be surprised if you ask. Sometimes I feel it's our own projection of like, I wouldn't want my session filmed, or I wouldn't want to be on video. But there's actually quite a lot of clients that are willing to do it. We've tested this on our own too, and I had the same thought process initially. Oh, well, this is private and all that. I even had another boudoir studio ask me, like, we've always been like, your session is private, and we preach that really hard. How do I now start doing this when we've always been big on that? And I'm like, you can still be big on privacy and tell them, it is always up to you how you want to do that, but you have to change your mindset. So I was like, so here comes the tough love is, do you care more about the privacy, or do you care more about promoting your business so that you can continue to keep your doors open? And it's not that you're going to violate a client's privacy, because it's always with their consent. We're never going to do anything without the client's consent, but maybe just pull back a little bit on privacy, because I barely ever tell anyone we keep your photos private. Like, and whoever is not okay with it will automatically let you know. Right?
True.
But we still ask, we still get consent forms, we still make sure that we're getting the permission. But when someone feels strongly about it, they're going to mention it. So we don't make a big deal about privacy. We just say, hey, are you okay if we post? So we ask first. And a lot of times they're like, oh yeah, I don't care. I was like, oh cool, do you care if we video your session? Can we video your session for our social media purposes? And they're always like, oh yeah, I don't care. Right?
That's great.
So now, we just don't make a big deal of it. And I feel like it's so much better if the camera is actually sitting on a shelf or a dresser or whatever, a vanity, or however you want to do it, because you're not in their face. The camera's just sitting somewhere, recording stagnant, and then you can come in and do, some B-roll or extra shots around it. So those techniques are, it's kind of like, you're not in their face about it. You're asking them permission, but you're not making such a big deal out of the privacy, and definitely not projecting what we would want for our thing. I'll be the first one to say, if I was getting a boudoir session, I absolutely would not allow another photographer to video my session. So that's just me. So I can't project my own feeling about it, because I know other people are like, yeah, I don't care. Please feel free to share. Oh my God, you're making a video of me? Some people are so excited about it. Some people are excited that when they see you, they see themselves in your promotions, right? It plays into, I feel like a model. I feel beautiful. Oh my God, I've been told this. I am worthy enough that you would want to put me front and center to model for your company, or to be on video for your company or for your campaigns. We made a post in our group of asking women, I'm making a gallery wall, because I finally have hallways in my studio where I can make galleries, which has always been a dream. As silly as that sounds, but for a photographer, that's a dream. So I have these cool hallways that I'm putting wall art. So I said, who would want to be featured on the wall art, on the art gallery of the studio? And the amount of women who are like, oh my God, I'd be so honored, right? So we can't assume that our clients don't want to. Just definitely, if you make it be seamless and part of the experience, people will be happy to. And then for the more involved bite-sized content, or like if we want to do outfit changes, I'll ask questions like, hey, are you okay to make like a little TikTok video? It's not live, so don't worry about it. And all I want to do is just snap your fingers, or just go like this, or go like this, or go like this, clap your hands, or stand right here, and when you snap your finger, we're gonna have your next outfit. So obviously we're gonna cut the parts, we're gonna film it, and it's gonna be on beat or whatever. And they're always like, oh my God, that's so cool, I would totally do that, right? So it's pretty much just consent, making it seamless, not making it this massive production feeling. So it works actually that viewers in the audience actually prefers the less produced stuff. So that's amazing, right? That gives us a huge
helpful. Yeah, really helpful. Yeah. Okay, so I'm learning a lot today too, because I've always been the ones that's always felt like, man, it really needs to be top notch, and I just don't have time for this. So,
us photographers get in our way so much about quality, and that's where we have to understand that your photos should be quality, right? That's the service you're providing to your clients. But the video, it's not that it's going to look like absolute trash. I mean, it's not going to look like a video, like a commercial for TV. but it's going to look like what's on social media and what people respond to the most. And so I think sometimes we let our own egos get in the way. And I can honestly say that because I've done it too. Like, and then I'm like, stop it, Karina. And then the videos that are actually the worst looking ones end up performing the best. So I've seen it myself in our own marketing strategy.
Okay. So what parts or like what would you say performs the best? Like are there certain things in each video like that you have to do every time? I don't know.
I'm gonna
Like
say
changes or
in our industry of boudoir, whether people shoot boudoir, maternity, glamour, pinup, that transformation piece.
yeah, before and after.
As well, yeah, high school seniors as well. That transformation piece is what you're selling, and I think we don't convey that enough sometimes. And I know for me that was something that I did often. And so what was happening is that a lot of people were saying I could never look like that, right? So when people are seeing a perfectly lit photo, a contoured face with makeup, and their hair is completely done, that's not how they look every day, right? Which is fine for a boudoir session. Personally, I feel you shouldn't look like your everyday self. Like, that's, at least for me, that's how I feel about it. I know some people want to do that more natural look, but I know my clients want the doll look, right? So
They said the before and after is like the most compelling part of the video, which is true. Like I do find that to be the case. I like to see before and afters myself. Where it's why I follow certain plastic surgeons, because it's just like we love to see the transformation.
Right.
So
that's why shows, like, if you think about it, even outside of the photography industry, HDTV. Why are people so obsessed with that network, right? Because HGTV is constantly showing transformations. People from going from apartments to homes, people renovating kitchens, people renovating their house, people adding additions, making pools, and people love to see that before and after transformation. It's what people love the most. And so we're not reinventing the wheel, but this is content we're already doing. All we have to do is turn on the camera and record it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's
you're recording what you're already doing. And so I think the issue is the overcomplication of the process. We're the ones getting in our way of creating content that people would want to see. These are your fans. These are people who are already following you. Yeah. And I think we're all guilty of that stuff. So like right now, one of the... No, I'll let you ask me the next question before I get ahead.
Okay, well, so what would you say, besides getting in our own way, what are some other like challenges that we face when we try to distribute content?
I would say is, so obviously getting in our own way is the top one, because we're the ones that we overthink it. We say we don't have time for it. We say, oh, this video only got 50 views. My photos get 100 likes. Like, you know what I mean? And so you start comparing that.
So comparison basically to, other photos or other accounts. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think one of the mistakes that any photography studio could do is look at what everybody else is doing. And I know that sounds crazy in the sense of looking at what the other person is doing to just derive 100% of your inspiration and from them, and not actually saying, who is Paula? What do I want to convey to my clients? What's important to me, right? Because if you check with different studios, we're the studio, like, we do a little bit more makeup, we do a little bit more contouring, we also use Photoshop. Other studios are very anti-Photoshop. That is their messaging. That is what they want to do, and that's what they want to showcase. I am pro Photoshop. I'm not pro making someone a size 20 look like a size 8, because that's not what we're doing. I feel like we do
it's all empowerment.
Subtle touches.
Neither's wrong.
Right. And just because sometimes a pose may make someone's legs look really good, but the way you have them twisted creates this bulge on their back that's actually not normal. Why wouldn't we Photoshop that piece? That's how I feel about it. But again, that's my stance, and I preach why I have that stance to my clients, and then you do what you do, right? It's okay to derive inspiration. I think a lot of times photographers get very territorial as well about certain things.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm not a huge fan of community over competition about everything, just because there are people who cross certain lines that you shouldn't cross. I would never cross a local photographer because I don't need to cross them or do everything they're doing to get ahead. I want people to love Chicago pinup and be enamored with my messaging and what I'm trying to portray, right? So I definitely would say comparison is one of those big things that gets in the way. Not actually understanding what is it that you're doing, what is the message you're trying to convey, what do you want people
That's a good one.
when they come to your studio. And so I think sometimes photographers have never even sat down to say, okay, who am I? What is my company about? Because sometimes everyone's looking at what somebody else is saying, so they're like, oh, I do women empowerment. What does that even mean, though? What does it mean? Like, what exactly are you empowering? What are you saying? What are you doing? What is your messaging, right? For me, my messaging is a huge part of my messaging, I'm going to say, because not all of it, is, celebrities and all these women that we constantly see. Like, there was these pictures of Hilary Duff floating around of her being like naked in a pool or something.
I remember that photo shoot. Yeah, she looked gorgeous.
Right, but she was photoshopped. And so people are just like, oh my God, I'd kill to have a body like that. Or I'd kill. And so then that comparison starts in people.
Yeah.
And while she's absolutely stunning, because Hilary Duff is a stunner, she was photoshopped. It was subtle, but it was there. I can see it. Mm-hmm. And so I want women to know that with the right team, they too can look like that.
Yeah.
This is what we're being fed all the time, right? Like, you can look like that too, and this is the reason why people look like that. Not that there aren't beautiful people in this world. There are, but there are things that are being done to these celebrities that we can offer the same kind of service. Now, if you want to be the photographer that shows, you want women to love their roles and cellulite and all that stuff, more power to you. If I ever get a client that says, I don't want Photoshop and this and this and that, I will refer them out, because and it's only happened once in 11 years. Everybody's like, please Photoshop me. And so I'm kind of the mindset, this is what I preach in my group. If I wanted to see my roles and my cellulite, I could just do that for free in the mirror. I don't have to pay someone to see it in the photos. And that's just my mindset around it. So that's the message I convey to my clients, and my clients are all for it. So there is a client for everyone, because sometimes my clients will say to me, I actually look at the little details, like the little fat underneath the armpit, and I see how I don't see that in your photos. And those little things have gotten me clients that we pay attention to, because we consider all of those details. So all that to say is that, like, that is the messaging that I'm pouring out, and that I'm going to attract the people that agree with my messaging. So if you, Paula, and I'm just using you as an example because I know you don't do this, if you're just stalking my work the entire time and you're trying to be the copy of what I'm doing, people are going to see right through it, and they're not going to respect you as who Paula is, right? It's going to come off
show and be authentic.
The version of another studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's, again, I think that falls under getting in your own way.
That's true. Do you find any I would post, look, if you have a piece of content, you're probably going to post it anywhere and everywhere. And if we have a chosen platform, we're obviously going to be putting it there. But do you find that certain platforms perform better than others? Like, one of my mentors is always saying, like, you have to put it on TikTok. You need to get on TikTok.
Yeah, so right now TikTok is definitely giving reach. It's not as heavy as it used to be. TikTok was giving major free reach before, so it's slowing down. We probably have maybe another year of that, and then I think it'll subside back to normal decline, reach will decline, and the whole nine. It's just the way it always goes. But right now, because Meta is trying to compete with TikTok and Pinterest even, and like Google is doing YouTube Shorts as well, I think they're all giving good reach now. So that's the cool part of doing the bite-sized content, that you just have to create it once and just put it on all the platforms. So that is beneficial, and then you could see which ones are working the best for you. Like, we've been gearing up for the biggest video campaign my company has ever done. So we have been filming behind the scenes a lot of sessions and doing a lot of things. So we've been working on it. We don't want to release anything. So if you go to my page now, people are going to be like, well, she's saying this one thing, but I don't really see that she's doing what she's talking about. Okay, well, the reason why you're not going to see it now is because, again, we've been preparing for the biggest campaign. So we've been doing just posts and stories and things like that. But we haven't been doing the bite-sized content right this moment because we're preparing for the big boom that we're going to do. Why are we holding off? Is because we're basically working on, I'm going to call it about 10 months worth of content. So how do we do that? By the 1 hour video from filming the session. Hair and makeup's about an hour and a half. The session itself runs for us about another hour and a half. So we're talking 3 hour videos that we're breaking down. And we have a formula that we're using specifically for making sure we're getting what we need, like the before and afters, the time-lapse video of the hair getting done and the transformation piece. Those little things are going to be just continuous, repeatable processes, because that's another thing. Repeatable process is extremely important to being a successful business, period. Whether it's content creation, whether it's your photo shoot. People always, photographers sometimes get in their own way as well when it comes to that, because they're like, oh, I need to create and I need to this, and it's kind of like, no, this is the set. I have 20 to 30 poses I do with that set, and at any given moment, I'm going to be giving my clients 15 with that set. I don't overshoot ever. That's just been me. So I have a quick process of detail. It's detailed and it's repeatable, right? Because if I don't have to reinvent the wheel, I'm faster, I'm more successful, I can have a better output, I'm less burnt out as well. And then whenever I feel like I want to be creative and like I really want to get off of the routine of the repeatable, boring, mundane process, because your business should be, when your business reaches boring and mundane, that's when you're successful. And the problem with creatives is that they're just kind of like, I just feel like I'm this and this and that, and it's kind of like, who cares about your feeling? You're running a successful business. If you want to do creative shoots, then schedule those. And if you're the type of person that wants to do that, then schedule your own creative shoots, but not changing that repeatable process. So it's the same way with content creation, is just making a repeatable process. So we're gearing up for the biggest campaign we've ever done, and I'm so excited about it, because what's going to happen is the consistency of the posting is what's going to make the algorithm boom for us, right? Because that's another thing. Consistency is going to be the biggest key to the strategy. Is not putting it behind the back burner. Oh, I don't have time for this. Your business and your bank account depends on you making time for it. So it's time that we stop making excuses for the one thing that we're supposed to be doing, and it's putting content out there for our business, right?
So
a lot of times people say to me, because I used to educate photographers, and people still inbox me, and photographers will inbox me and they say stuff. Karina, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have like 2 bookings next month. Karina, I don't know what I'm going to do. My bookings are slowing down. I don't have inquiries, this and this and that. First question I ask them is, How many reels have you made? How many stories have you posted? How many posts have you made? And they're like, well, there's your answer, right? And so I always say, your focus is going to determine your bank account. Your focus is going to determine how people are hearing about you. So the more output that you can do and the more focus you can put on content creation, the bigger things are going to get for you. So now you're going to ask me, but Karina, okay, so now I'm doing all this content creation and you're right, it's working, the consistency. I'm busy now. I don't know what to do, because now you want to push it even further. Now you want to bring it back because you're like, it's too much. I can't do it. If I don't pull it back, then, I'm not going to have time to do all this other stuff. When it starts working and you're starting to get those bookings, now you have enough business to justify getting another person to help you.
Yes. And I think that's the other big hurdle, is that, like, I always felt like I always felt like it was going to have to be a separate production. I don't have time for it. Like, I don't have time to do the video. And then how am I going to make time to do these TikToks? I don't enjoy dancing in front of the camera. Like, so I like the way you just said, like, look, you got to do it. You have to do it for the life of your business. You don't need a fancy camera. Don't make it a big production. Just freaking do it and make it a process and do it every time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so, I don't know. What do you think about, like, future trends? I mean, as far as, like, what do you think we're going to be seeing as far as how video is going to evolve in the future?
Attention span is going to continue to decrease.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but that is the truth of where things are headed. So the way that you're going to catch attention is going to be video. Photography, as we know it, and still imagery, it's going to still be around, but it's not going to be. It's going to continue to decline the reach that stills are going to have. Video is what's going to continue to boom. I mean, video is projected to become like the top way that you can get your messaging out. So I think that a lot of people need to just jump on the train before you miss it, and then you're forced to have to try to learn things when you're way behind. And so I think it's just, again, it's as simple as just using your phone. My phone has makeup on it, but
we can all relate. How many times have we done this? And then it's all over the screen.
So it's literally taking your phone and saying, I'm going to use the device that I have to create content for my studio, and I promise you that this is going to convert way more than your fancy studio camera, and people are going to feel like it's more authentic, like they're not being sold to. They're going to feel like they can relate to you because they too have one of these guys. You know what I mean? Everyone has one of these. You got kids with phones now, so you know what I'm saying? Like, the game has changed, and we need to evolve, and we need to. I'm gonna keep preaching that. Like, we need to get out of our own way, because if we continue to just care about, I hate being on camera. I don't like how I look on camera.
Yes, that's another one too.
Yeah, and so we start picking ourselves apart when really. Especially if you've already built an audience, even if it's a small one, even if you just have 50 people that are following you, you got 50 people that gave you that follow, gave you that like, because they like your content enough to hit the like button. Nobody's forcing anybody to hit the follow button or the like button. They're choosing to follow your content. They're choosing to watch it because they want to see it. We're the ones that think that they're just paying attention to the fact that, Karina has chubby cheeks. Like, okay, yeah, I have chubby cheeks, but my work is my work.
Karina has beautiful cheeks, and I'm sure she's got a beautiful backside cheeks too.
It's so funny. My husband would agree. But anyway. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like sometimes we get in our own way again about, oh, my hair, oh, my nails, oh, my this, oh, my that. I'm not ready. I don't look good. You don't even have to always be with the camera in your face. Like, that's the beauty of what we do. We're showing the process. And so the key here is also record everything. Your client walking into the studio, your client leaving the studio. If you have clients pick up their product, record that process. If you package the product and you have the lab send it to you and you do this beautiful packaging, record that process. As stupid as it sounds, I mean, even you got people literally basically doing videos on like their first time trying Thai food. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're getting tons of views on that. And somehow we think someone's not interested on how you sanitize your studio.
Yeah.
That's going to be important to your clients. To some of your clients, it's going to be really important to say, hey, watch me clean my studio. Or watch me reset my studio for the next client. And it could just be as simple as some Windex in the mirror. I mean, hey, I have a cleaning company. And yet I still, in between sessions and things like that, I'm
Yeah.
wiping down the mirror, I'm wiping down the toilets, I'm doing all of this stuff. And you know what? As silly as that sounds, us literally grabbing the TP and putting it in the roll, like showing those stupid little things, even turning on the light to the studio, putting your key into the door to walk in. And you could do this even if it's your home because it's just a lock you're showing. You don't have to show the full entrance of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just little things of like showing people what a day in the life of Paula and her studio looks like. You know what
Super
I'm saying?
cool. I mean, I was even thinking about like just doing regular FAQ. So you could do, non-client stuff too, flipping through an album, showing the products. Like there's infinite ideas, I think. I know I heard a lot of photographers complaining like I haven't had lingerie. Like you just put it up on the dress form and people were complaining because TikTok was taking those videos down and it's like, but now we have their platform. So are you still, so you're not still mentoring other photographers? Are you offering workshops or classes?
No, I'm not currently, at least. I mean, I did do the full strategy of this for AIBP. So that's kind of like if someone wants to like see the full thing, I give a formula, I have a whole slide deck. I even have a checklist that you can use. That's a checklist we use to do the videos. So people can join AIBP if they want to do that. I mean, honestly, the class that I give there is worth, I don't know how much it costs at this point, but it's so relatively cheap with how Boudoir education has gotten pretty up there in pricing, right? Courses are running several $1,000s, and I believe the membership is either $200 or a little less than $200. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's so cheap for all of the education that they're constantly giving. They're giving about luxury brands. They're doing education on AI, using it as a tool for our business, and not see it as our nemesis. You know what I mean? Like, just all the different like cool workshops that they're giving. They've done it on color grading, lots. So they do a nice balance of business and as well as the art side of things. There's cool competitions in there. I'm a huge fan. I used to not be an AIBP before, but it transferred ownership, so it's changed in the dynamic of it. So no drama in there too, which is pretty awesome because I think that being a boudoir photographer, seeing drama in groups, and I feel like it's amazing how they've managed to keep the group drama free. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah, that's really the only thing. And this is I've gotten on a few podcasts, but this is like the I think this is the second one I actually like teach something on. But I haven't. I keep being asked. Some people are like, "Are you mentoring again? Can you mentor me?" And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, if I want to get back into it. I think I'm gonna be real honest. I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed the transformational piece as of seeing of taking studios that were performing at 100,000 and then them getting 250,000, like more than doubling their income. You know, sometimes when studios reach that six-figure mark, they get stuck there, right? That first six-figure mark, they get stuck and they don't know how to pass the 100,000 mark. And so like I was able to structure studios. I felt like I did mentoring more like Bar Rescue. Have you ever seen that show?
Yes, I love that show.
Yeah.
That transformational piece again.
Yes. So if for anybody who's listening and has never seen Bar Rescue is basically just a show that where this guy goes into the bars and he's rescuing them because he's looking at their menu. Sometimes they have too much things on their menu. They're over serving. They're not measuring. They're not doing these specific things that'll get them running as a profitable bar. So I started noticing that there was photography studios who were like, I want to outsource this, and then they had a person that did this and a person that did that, and then they had this whole team, but they were freaking out that they couldn't make payroll next month. And so then it's kind of like your studio doesn't make enough to have all the staff yet. And so I would go in there and just basically dissect their whole studio and tell them, you need to get rid of this many people. This is what you need to do moving forward or you're going to be out of business. And just kind of like, I always had this entirely different way of doing business. But I think that a lot of people were, in our industry, it's an unfortunate trend where everyone's obsessed with the booking strategies that books them tons of clients. But a lot of people are not seeking to actually build a sustainable business that's going to get them out of that loop of, I have to do $99 session fees and model calls and body love projects and, you know, all the ideas that are out there, the 40 over 40, the 50 over 50 stuff, where everyone's just, I'm going to do this one campaign and I'm booking 40 clients out of this or 50 clients or 20 or whatever. And this is what they always default to because they never actually learned how to run a sustainable business. And so I think for me, that was the struggle in working with photographers, that I was kind of like, I wanted to pull back from that. But I think that if I return to education, I think it's going to be more of the small business perspective, but probably working with a little bit higher level entrepreneurs that are already performing at a certain income level. And because I feel like I want to be able to teach them, like, okay, you've put your business here. Now we're going to figure out all of the ways we can make stuff lean to get you to the next level. And where do you need to hire, fire, structure your business, and then also how to have multiple streams of income. You know what I mean? How, like, not counting fully on your photography studio to actually not feel so pressured when those slow seasons come. Because I think if you've been in this business for long enough, you know that business can be really good and then all of a sudden it dips. And people want to say, "Oh, it's because of this or that." No, it's called seasons. And
yeah, that's true.
Goes through them. And so you have to know how to prepare, how to manage your money. I think 2020 highlighted. 2020 highlighted how many people didn't manage their money properly. How many photographers? Because I saw it over and over. I'm freaking out. I'm gonna have to close my doors, right? And it's kind of like, how are you in groups saying you're making $7,000 sales, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, and you're closed down for a couple weeks and you're going out of business?
True.
Something's not right, right? And it's not something to be embarrassed about. It's really something to say, I was never taught how to do money or work with money, or I've never had this kind of money before. I don't know how to manage it. I don't know how to make it grow into long-term investments. What can I do And that would be the next step for me, is how can you improve your skills and the knowledge that you have attained into growth and into building something else. So what we're constantly being told is create a course, sell your
Yeah.
knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So you see photographers jump from being photographers to now I'm selling a course, because that's the only thing that is floating around as a way to make smart investments and create a different stream of income. And it's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying that there's so much more opportunity, and tying it into content creation is that content creation can help you have other avenues of making income, because now you're being booked more, you're doing certain things. Now you can do, like, for example, me, I'm actually planning on launching a content creation company for photographers and small businesses, where we would manage your entire social media concepts, TikTok, Facebook or Meta, Pinterest, even your Google listing. So we're working on doing that. We actually got an amazing URL, contentcreationstrategy.com. Are you kidding me?
Contentcreationstrategy.com. Okay, I'm going to put that in on the screen somewhere and in the comments, so y'all can remember that and bookmark it when she's ready to launch.
Yeah, so right now there's going to be a page. It should be up by the time this goes up. It should already be up. So
Okay.
it's going to just be like sign up to know when we launch. But we're definitely going to get into that because we see a need in the industry of help. So let's say this is not going to be a service for everyone. Not everyone's going to be able to afford it, and that's okay, because we want to work with studios that, if you've built something, you're more consistent than someone who's just starting. And so we get passion. We love passion, but consistency is what we love more. So I want to work with studios or businesses that are kind of like ready to outsource that piece and say, I see the worth in paying for this service. And like I said, it's not going to be cheap, but it's not going to be something that I feel it's out of reach for most photographers that are running multiple six-figure businesses. And I feel like, again, this is something that's a need. And if someone can afford to outsource that piece, you still have to record the content. So we would obviously guide on how to do those things, but we would take it from there, breaking it into bite-sized content, posting it, doing the algorithms, doing the keyword searches, all of that stuff. And we would obviously, as you continue to do videos, that's the cool part about it. I forgot to mention that, is that it starts to stack, right? So now I have my last 10 clients that I've videoed their hair, right? So now all of a sudden we can show the first part of it, the transformation really sped up. Client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4. We post them individually, but then we also post them in a group. Look at these 5 transformational pinup hairstyles. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to be like, oh my God. They're going to watch because they want to see all 5, right? So like it starts to stack the same content over and over. You can continue to use it. And those are the assets that you want to have in your studio. A quick way to organize them is your simple Google Drive can do that. But if you want to pay for something, Dropbox is another good option where you can create a Dropbox. We do it by month because we don't want to have to dig for a million things. And then we also then put those same assets into a different folder of like, this is the hair time lapse and all of that. So we organize everything piece by piece so that we can sit there and be like, hey, I need this. Sometimes inspiration is going to strike you out of nowhere and you'd be like, oh my God, I could totally do this for my studio. Let's see what I have. And you just dig into your own asset library and now you're like, holy crap, look at this. I have it already. And now you put that idea forward. I think sometimes we're the ones that get in our own way again about how many times have I used this? Oh, I already showed that. So here's a funny story from an entrepreneur who posts the same quote every single Monday, and every single Monday it gets likes.
Nice.
The same quote every single Monday.
But you know what? I'll bet you somebody different is seeing it every time it gets posted. So
exactly. So that's why you can't be afraid of saying, I posted this in January and it's now April and I'm gonna post it again.
Yeah, you can recycle it.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much for these tips. Thank you for being here with us today and just giving us all this knowledge. Like I said, I was in awe of you, and I'm still in awe of you. I think you're just an incredible woman, an entrepreneur, and such an inspiration. So I just really appreciate you being here today. And I think a lot of photographers, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more video, I think, from photographers. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching The Artful Entrepreneur. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe and share it. And have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.